and welcome to the Access to Health, Staying Healthy Throughout the Holidays video series. I'm going to start the series with the topic of what I hear is the hardest part about staying healthy through the holidays, and that is dealing with temptation. So we're going to start with willpower. I wanted to start with this because I agree, willpower is a very, very difficult entity to master. And essentially, we all have choices. So, as an example, some people, when they're watching TV in the evening, choose to walk on a treadmill and eat carrot sticks. And then others choose to sit on the couch, usually with not very great posture, and eat potato chips. I bet that's where they came up with the phrase couch potato. If you are what you eat and you're sitting on the couch eating a potato, there you go. Okay, so how do we work on willpower? What makes those two people different? So first of all, I recommend setting goals. Write down what you want and also what you need to do to accomplish those goals. There are very few one-size-fits-all ways to accomplish your goals, whatever they may be. As an example, let's say you want $1 million. Well, you could rob a couple banks and maybe 4 or 5 banks and come away with $1 million. Or you can start a business and work hard for 30 years and then sell that business for $1 million. There's also a million other ways you could make $1 million. But let's be honest, most people in this country are overweight, and most of them have a goal of losing weight as their primary healthcare goal. But again, there are so many ways to go about losing weight. Let's say you're simply deficient in a certain mineral, and adding a simple supplement will help you to lose weight naturally. That's why it's so important whenever you have healthcare goals, that you have a healthcare team as part of your team to help you reach those goals. And so it's important when it comes to willpower and goals that you choose the tasks that you most are likely to succeed at. So another example in the weight loss world, let's use me as an example. I'm not as big of a fan of group exercise as solitary exercise, and I love being outside, and I happen to like sleeping. So for me, as an example, going to take maybe a group CrossFit class at 6 o'clock in the morning, it might be outdoors, which appeals to my being outdoors, but I'm in a group and I don't get to sleep in. So it's not to say that doing CrossFit is not extremely great for you and will help you lose weight. It's just, again, about doing those things that you like to do. So in my example, I would be more likely to take a walk in the evening after dinner time, where it's not affecting my sleep and I'm not in a big group of people, but I'm still going to be outside. So I'm much more likely to do that and accomplish my goals that way than I am in the other example. There's a big difference between maybe not liking to do something and disliking something. So even if you might not like it, repetition, which we're about to talk to, will help with that. And again, like I said, if you don't set yourself up for failure, then you won't fail. Okay, so next we talk about repetition. So everyone in general has a certain amount of times that they need to do something for it to stick. So it's not something as easy as time, doing something for a month. If you only do something once in that month, it's not going to have as much staying power than if you did something 5 times in one day. So if we look at studies about children and eating food that they don't like, most kids actually took about 5 to 6 times of eating a certain food that they might not have liked for them to start not only eating it, but liking it as well. Most kids were actually about 3 to 4 times. So even if you have a child who never eats broccoli, if you give it to them enough time, they'll actually start to like broccoli. And it works, repetition is interesting too, because it works like that with everything in your life. So even, let's say at work, you're being taught a new task. It might take you 4 times to get it, where your coworker might take only once and another coworker takes 10 times. We all have a different way that we do this in our developing our habits, essentially, and learning good habits. So again, like I said in the earlier, even if you might not like working out, set up the right environment and keep doing it, and eventually you will learn to like it, surprisingly enough. As another side note, I also recommend doing a cleanse before the holidays. And the reason that I recommend that is a couple of reasons. First of all, a cleanse is typically always great for you just to cleanse out the toxins that are in your body. I myself am doing one up to Thanksgiving. The second thing about what's helpful about a cleanse is it's also referred to as an elimination diet. And it helps you to see what those triggers are. So if you completely cut out sugar from your diet for, say, a month, and then you go back and you eat sugar, you pay attention to the way that your body is reacting, and you might not react the same way to that as before you did the cleanse. So it's helpful, again, to see what is really causing maybe discomfort. If you have a very diverse diet, then it's really hard to narrow it down. So doing a cleanse before the holiday will help you narrow down which foods give you the most angst. Okay, and so the last part about willpower is basically self-discipline and the action steps that come along with willpower. Willpower without action is meaningless. It's not even willpower in the case. So take smoking, for example. It takes effort. If you want to quit smoking, it takes effort to get into your car, drive to the gas station, hand over your money, and get a pack of cigarettes. So I'm not saying that it's, again, not easy. That's why we're starting with the hardest part, is just, in a sense, not going to get those cigarettes, and then you don't have that temptation. No one, especially around the holidays, no one is force-feeding you these junk foods. I understand that there's those times when someone at the office brings a big, beautiful plate of Santa cookies and they look really, really good and you just love to eat one of them. But, again, if that's one of your triggers, then you shouldn't eat it. And in that case, I like to use little things like, focusing on the positive. Oh my gosh, those cookies are so beautiful. They look so delicious, but I'm trying to stay away from sweets right now, so I hope everyone else enjoys them. Or sometimes if I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, I'll even say that I'm allergic to something, so then it's kind of a, not my fault type of thing. And if you know that the break room is full of sweets and sugary goodness, then just try and stay away from the break room. And that way you avoid those temptations in the first place and removing yourself from the situation there. So I hope that that's helpful, a little bit about setting goals and willpower and self-discipline. And like I said, it is the hardest part, but the more that we do it, the easier it becomes. So next week we'll talk a little bit about the cleanse and what that's all about and what we hope to accomplish for that. And stay tuned for more helpful tips.